podcast about what's new and awesome in 3D printing for gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jefferson J. Thacker, also known as Param.
And I'm Christian Sowards, also known as Seventh Mastery.
And advanced apologies to the listeners. I've got a bit of the allergies and/or a cold and/or something that is making me feel all sniffly and nasally, and I will try to bully through this, but you will definitely hear a slightly squeakier Param for this episode.
Slightly squeakier params are cute though, so it's fine.
So there's another reason I'm going to be slightly more squeaky.
Oh,
because this is the episode where I get to say I've been printing rats. I've been printing so many rats. I get to print so many squeaky little good boys. It is so wonderful. I've got 20 of the halberd rats printed up from one-page rules. I've got another 20 of the spear rats printed up. I'm trying to pick out my heroes, and I'm like trying to wonder, am I going to stay one-page rules purist with this army just to have rep the company brand because, I do work for them, so I want to show support in some way. Or man, there's so many really great mouseling options out there.
I know
Cobra Mode has made some really cool looking ones.
Well, I was thinking of those Lord of the Print Sparrow.
Those look great.
Infantry or whatever they are. Air people, cavalry. Yeah. I don't know. They got mounts. They're birds.
And then Duncan Shadows has an entire line of little cute mouse characters, including a mouse hero riding a squirrel with a lance. And I'm just I'm all about squirrel lance mouse.
I had to get those mouselings for the mounted owlbear mouseling guy that I had in one of my games. So
yes. And I am glad that right now there's 3 different artists doing mice for that I could pick from. Just right now, and there's been countless of other artists that have done really good mice options. If I wanted to do the Warhammer purist approach, Titan Forge has got that, and then there's E-Man G over on Cults, and then not related to Cults 3D, but Cult Miniatures also did this amazing mouse set or rat set that you could do that just looks amazing, and released it all at once, as one of their monthly packs. It was here, every single thing in the Skaven army.
I was about to say, I've seen some serious Skaven stuff Gamek, Clay Beast Creations did a hybrid Wraith, Ghost
Mousies.
Yeah, they're really
Skaven. Cool. That is a cool set because it's meant to be really cool proxies for this not the Soul Blight. What's the other army called in Sigmar? Night Haunt, yeah. Proxies for Night Haunt that evoke the Skaven. It's just so great. It's just so awesome. We've already got C Catlet, Alex, and James in chat. Hey, welcome y'all.
Hey, y'all.
We're talking about projects. I'm talking about cool Massies. And Gamix, you mentioned Gamix. They did rats, but Asian inspired, which is also really cool.
They're really, really neat. The big sorcerers are my favorite.
Yeah. Duncan is all rats, but what if cute? What if it was based off of mouselings and stuff? And
I think those would probably mesh better with the middle road of OPR. OPR definitely has. Yeah. They almost remind me of what if Bretonnians but mouse?
Yes, because they're all noble. It's it's I really love it. They're not little disease scurriers. They're we are proud Massey defenders. We will defend the realm from the bad things.
Be very nice for some D&D players who needed proxies for a more cleaned up mousy type character.
So many NP characters could be made because they've got the engineers and they're really cool, and then the little mouse helpers trying to tune the sights on the end of the sniper rifle, and the one that's trying to roll the cannonball towards the gunners. And I just love this set so much. And I'm going to print a 2,000 point army of it. Absolutely, it's going to be crazy. It was just saying something because I'm burning my printer up doing them because 2,000 points of any rat army is a lot of rats.
Yeah.
It's because one of my units of 20 only hits 210 points.
Do you ever get scared playing something like that against AoEs though, a big flame burst or something, and just gonna go down in a squeaking nightmare?
I mean, it does worry me in games like that because but at the same time, I get to see my opponent's face light up with glee when the fireball hits. And it's like,
Aw.
oh, there we go. I've provided them with an entertainment. And also, did I mention there's a billion of them? It's not such a
Sure.
huge loss when I have 6 other units of 20 rats on the same table.
Your speed paint game's gonna have to like skyrocket to get
This
that all
is
done.
going to be my slap chop army. I am not going to do like this is the opposite of the elves, where the high elves I was like, and then I'm going to layer 7 layers of blue on this cloth, and then paint in the filigree and get that face perfect. No, 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 no. This is going to be and then green and then fur and then next.
Right, right. Still, it's gonna be a challenge. I admire and look forward to seeing you slog through that because I don't think I have 2,000 points of anything. Well, that's not entirely true.
Well, when I'm on my game, I can usually paint 12 models a night in about an hour and a half. So I
Nice.
should be able to get these all painted up, especially if I'm willing to accept these are slap chop mess.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah, I've
David.
actually got sort of some repetitive stress injury in my elbow actually right now
no.
because I've been going at it. Even just dry brushing, you know, like
Oh
I can do myself dirty. So
Oh no. So like, are you gonna have to like learn to paint with like your elbow or something?
I could probably actually do with my right hand, especially like the less detailed work. I'm almost in that ambidextrous thing anyway. I can write with my right hand even though I'm left-handed, but neither are quality penmanship. So hopefully I can develop some control there. But I've actually just been trying to go easy and do more project planning and printing more than I have been painting the last 2 weeks because well, my biggest thing is I get right before game night, I print off a bunch of stuff, and then I have like 12 minis to paint from like Thursday night to Saturday morning before I run that game, or from Sunday night to Monday night. You know, like I get in these crunches. It's bad.
Oh. Well, I mean, at least you're getting stuff done and getting some hobby time in.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And you showed me you have been recently putting together a new army of your own for is this for Kill Team?
It's mostly for Kill Team, and that's why I'm kind of like dithering and printing things and kind of looking at them and seeing if I really like the models. But yeah, that's from Immaterium God that's going up there, and they're horrifying, which of course I love.
For our audio listeners, what is it you're trying to make?
Well, I'm just probably going for like a small. Quite frankly, it would probably be for skirmish for Grimdark for OPR, but just
so Grimdark Future Firefight.
Right. Well, I have tons of demons, and I am always adding them because I use them in a lot of my fantasy RPG stuff. But I don't have very many chaos sci-fi figs, you know, like at all. And these are very unique. The ones you've pulled up right now are I don't even know what do you think the proxy would be there? Like
I have no idea. I'm not up on my chaos or my void demons or any.
they got a lot
wormhole
of power
demons.
fist looking options.
Yeah, and chaos is all like just bolt metal to thing, and it's a unit, and
yeah, and
they
I kind of
all
like
look like horrific monstrosities.
I kind of like the fact that these kind of look like they have maybe the skull and then just a bunch of like tubes plugged into the skull. Like I don't even know if there's a real person in there. I guess there looks like there might be some muscle, but it's all cyborg demon modded out. Looks pretty rad.
To describe him for our listeners, he's showing me a model that looks like a minotaur with giant arms because it's got the hooves, like the demon hoof thing going on, about the size of a minotaur model, I would guess. So like a 2-inch base, but the face of Immortan Joe.
Alex says they're probably proxies for Khorne Marines. I was thinking, David, what David's just said mutated. I was thinking maybe they're supposed to be proxies for that. But yeah. Dusky says machine zombies. He's in. Yep. These are more classic Chaos Marines looking. The ones that you've just moved to another one. They have kind of like almost a built-in standard or something on their backs.
Yeah, well, it's like Space Marines with spikes and skulls. Which, well, I have to say the spikes because even normal Space Marines have skulls all over everything. I've been playing Dark Tide a lot lately. If it's a new game that's come out, it's a horde shooter video game set in 40K universe where you play a bunch of rejects in a planet that's being overrun by chaos cultists.
Hmm.
And I am constantly shooting my allies because the quote unquote good guys from the Imperium are all dressed in black and covered in skulls. And the
Yeah.
bad guys are all dressed in black and covered in skulls, but they have more spikes than we do.
Yeah, looking at this though, like I don't know. I think that's just a good standard little chaos thing. I do like that the uniqueness of the Immaterium God does have some like some different motifs on their chaos. You know, what is it, the arrow spread thing and things like that. There's the vibe is there, but they are definitely not just knockoffs of the GW stuff.
Yeah, I could tell what they're trying to be, but I couldn't point to a single GW sculpt and say it's that one.
Right.
Oh,
Alex says they look Nurgle inclined. Spoiler alert, I definitely am heading for some Nurgle stuff, both with Battle Yak has some coming out, and then the Wild Mesh people have some good Nurgle stuff that looks like it's coming out. So
and the very next model in your set that you submitted is just, I'm guessing, the leader, because it stands taller, has a big giant claw and a cape, just covered in skulls. Just so many skulls.
So many skulls.
It's impractical to have that many skulls. At least I'm happy that like the skulls in the back are like from different alien species and it's not just human skulls.
Well, you gotta have your representation. It matters in all things, Param, especially skulls.
And for some reason, it's important that he plugs his sword via nasty tubes into his arm.
Well, you know.
I'm not sure what the sword is doing that it needs to be plugged into his arm. But
maybe it siphons blood so you can just like, eat on the go.
Oh, okay. I mean, just licking that giant freaking two-bladed sword like a lollipop, skipping through the minefield.
Sucks right down the tube and goes into the processor, on his back, maybe. I don't know.
And then big giant guns. I support models with big giant guns. Always.
Those feel very classic to me. They're like Chaos Burst looks very GW to me. Speaking of which, though, because I was all like ready to kind of double down on all these, and then I opened my new AVG Arc Villains promo for this month, and what was in it? More Chaos dudes.
Oh, of course it is. You need your spikes and tentacle monsters.
Right. Well, and speaking of tentacles, Cyberforge dropped a whole bunch of mutated Chaos.
Oh,
dudes
yeah.
This
Cyberforge the last few months has been just chaos.
Yes. So shocking no one. What 3 months do I have of Cyberforge?
I mean, honestly, with what Cyberforge just dropped the last few months and their commitment to just like complete army sets, kind of like Gamic does now, and before moving on, whereas before they would just like a unit here, a unit there. Like you'll be able to make any chaosy inspired model you want now. Your library's so big.
Right. Well, with those three kind of come in hard, and then part of about a third of the stuff from Wild Mesh has also been chaos, and Wild Mesh just dropped their first loyalty reward, and I can't show it on air because she's naughty.
Oh boy!
But one of the best Slaanesh probably proxies for their Demon Lord. Although she's not the kind of between genders like that one is. She's definitely one gender, and she's showing it off a lot. We'll just say that.
Yeah, I have noticed in the 3D printing space, when you give artists unlimited creativity and no filter whatsoever, and the fact that the stores will sell any of it they want, that you need to be careful sometimes when doing a scroll through My Mini Factory, because it's like, wow, that's a whole lot of that all at once.
Yes, like those daemonettes that are spidery and positioned. We won't talk about them anymore. But yes, I got options and a lot of them, and nicely, because I'm kind of focusing on chaos, I can still use a good chunk of their monstery stuff for fantasy stuff too, because I'm like that.
So you've got your inner chaos taken care of. You know what else I've been taking care of that's hobby related?
What's that?
Ordering bases.
This comes up later in the episode again.
I do like to 3D print my bespoke bases, such as like the cool Titan Forge Wood Elf bases that I have printed off for my sister's little Wood Elf army.
Hmm.
And the really cool like undead bases with all the lanterns and skulls, and it makes sense for undead to have a bunch of skulls because they're friends
Sure.
or potential friends.
Well, and like my night haunt proxies, I have a bunch of them because I did some Halloween adventures with him in D&D. But those bases are all bespoke and cool and help balance their very ridiculous flight poses. So you need kind of to use them sometimes for the weight. But yeah.
They are very big bases sometimes. Like sometimes when you have a bespoke base, it's like more resin than the mini you're gonna put on it.
Oh, I'm looking at you, Arc Villain Games.
Yeah, they're cool because like they got some of these bases that has like half a clock tower attached to it, and like the
Right?
giant bat monster's gonna be like hanging off of
Hanging
it
off
with
of it.
one
It looks
claw.
rad, but it's more
Yeah.
resin for that tower than it is for the bat.
It's-
And those
and
bats are big.
yes, and I love it, and I know that you're not always a fan of those.
Mm,
But sometimes I want to do my own basing. Like
mm,
for all my elves, I did bespoke basing, like putting the gravel and the grit and gluing the grass tufts down and all that stuff. And that's always fun. And so I decided for my rats, because these like really noble rats looking like, I'm like, I want them to be on the cool grass stuff too. So instead of, 3D printing all these bases, I'm going to be using MDF bases. And the one of the things I love about 3D printing is that I get to customize everything I do, which is why I'm really glad that Etsy exists and there are
mhm.
wonderful vendors. War Chest Creations is the one I'm going to hype here because I was able to say, hey, I 3D print these cool movement trays for the
Mhm.
various games I play, and I want bases that will just snap in there and
Right.
match. So I need you to laser cut me hundreds of these little wooden bases with magnet holes in the exact right spot so that they will all latch together and all of my little 3D printed cool stuff matches up. And they're able to do that. And it's really cool because like they sent me SVG files and I sent them my 3D files and we matched them up and made sure everything would interface perfectly together. And then I'm like, okay, great. Now I need 325 millimeter ones and 200 of the others, and I need 132 millimeters. And all told, it was like $50
Oh
for
wow.
hundreds of bases, hundreds and hundreds of bases. And I've been able to
Nice.
go back and do reorders. So my little mousies are going to be on MDF bases, completely blank, wood sides, with like a real old school look. And I'm going to do like Geek Gaming Scenics' gamer, like pre-made grass mixes. I'm going
Hmm.
to use those to get them started. And then I'm going to like hand place little rocks and little 3D printed rebel pieces. I'm just going to have so much fun getting my little ratties like nice little places to
Oh,
stand on before they stab some people.
but there's so many of them, Param.
I know it's going to be so fun.
It needs to be,
And
yes. The
yes,
base
David, I will
sources.
put War Chest Creations in the show notes. So below the video on YouTube, on the website, printergames.com, on the episode, I'll have a link to War Chest Creations. In fact, we're going to have lots of links in this episode
Probably.
because this episode is about buying stuff.
Yep.
Specifically, it's the holidays. And we're gamers, and gamers love stuffs. And we're 3D print gamers. So we've got lots of gift ideas. And we're going to come at this from a few different angles. One angle is, hey, you're one of our loyal listeners with a 3D printer. What is some of the cool stuff you would like for Christmas that you can recommend for friends to get you or to get fellow 3D printer gamers in your life? So that's one audience. You has printer. What else would be cool for gifts? Other option is you don't has printer yet. We're going to get you started with a starter printer kit, like our recommendations for, hey, this like, hey, I need a printer for Christmas. What do I get? And then also we're going to have from the other angle of, hey, I have a printer. Can I use it to make gifts for friends? And finally, just really cool hobby gift ideas for gamers in your life.
It's a lot, but it's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I might have been too ambitious when I put this idea together.
I'm looking
You
at
had the
David.
idea.
That was basically what I was thinking. Is like, just give me resin.
And let's start off with that. Hey, do you have a 3D printing gamer in your life? Or you want to recommend a gift related to 3D printing to friends when they inevitably ask you, hey, can you share your Christmas list? Resin. Resin and filament. And the stock stuff is fine. Like whatever your favorite stock stuff, more of that is always welcome because there's always more projects to do. But I also think that specialty resins or filament are also a good idea here. This is like, hey, somebody get me a bottle of Tenacious for Christmas. That's a gift that lasts a long time because
Or
I'm going to put
a rat army.
yeah, or one rat arm. That's a list that's going to last me one rat army. Honestly, let's be fair to 3D printing. I'm going to get a whole rat army out of a single bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, especially since they're little guys. They're not like the big, crazy Skaven 14-tailed floating wizard types.
This is also a great time to get like really pretty filament. Is it purple and have glitter in it? That's a great gift. Is it like, and also like, if you know their printers can handle it, specialty filaments. Like, is it rubber? Is it wood? Is it like
Right.
got really cool properties? That's just, we can all use stock gray hatchbox every day of the week to get our next model set printed out that we're going to paint. But sometimes I want my Flexi Dragon toy that I got off Cults to be purple, sparkly, and awesome.
Gradient, shimmering. Yeah, absolutely. I really wish I knew if that Sunlu stuff was good, because that
Uh-huh.
Sunlu deal I showed you.
Uh-huh.
This is for anybody who's listening live or like in the first day or two of upload. I'm sorry otherwise, because I think the sale's going to end in a couple days. It's advertised $17.99 a bottle, and I know it's better than the stuff I normally get at that price point, but I don't know how much better it is. But they also had transparent, red and green specifically in that same price point, which I very rarely see transparent that cheap. And so that's super cool. And actually, a lot of the resins came down to $16.99 a bottle when I saw it, but they're just advertising what the average or like most common price point was. So, yeah, if you're in chat right now and you've used Sunlu and you didn't hate it, let me know, because I've been dithering about whether or not to order some at that price point. You have to order 6, I want to say, or it's 3 or 6. It's a quantity, but I know that's only good for a couple more days, though. Yes, David. Almost $18.
I've been super happy that like it seems like Elgu's ABS, like my favorite go-to resin's down to $30 a bottle right now on the
Nice.
regular. It's usually 40, so like that was a happy day because I ordered a bunch of it because I was really unhappy with navy gray. I mean, it just did not live up to my expectations.
Yeah. I've had really good luck with just Anycubic with a little Tenacious was been kind of my favorite so far.
I need to try the Anycubic stuff. I haven't. I need to give it a shot. Also, I need to try this stuff that Chitubox sent me, which is like got cool sculpt resin, and I need to try that out because I hear good things about it. We have some questions in chat. Herberto Vale, if that icon matches up, they're one of the creators of some really super awesome minis. Confirm that in chat if you're a sculptor, Herberto. If you're the one I'm thinking of, I'm gonna give you
I
a
believe
shout
it
out.
is actually who you're thinking of.
Does the resin smell like fruitcake? I have not met resin that smells like fruitcake, and I never want to because we shouldn't drink the forbidden milkshakes. I don't want anybody tempted to drink the resin. Do not drink the resin. Capsule Chibi, yes, you do
Yep.
some of the. So Herberto Vale's in chat. Thanks, Sculptor Capsule Chibi. They do some of the most awesome, cute chibi minis going. So do check them out if you can. Send us a message and I'll throw a link to your stuff in chat. The sisters chibis I want to print so badly. because that little nun tank with the little cute chibi guard sticking out of it is just the glorious mini. I haven't seen them around in a bit, so super glad to see it. Herbertoville says, by the way, I once bought resin for Form 1 Plus with pumpkin spice flavor. What? Why would you? Do not drink the resin. Do not drink the resin. Do not drink the resin. It will kill you.
But if any flavor was going to make it in there, I am not surprised it was that. We've got to have our PSL everywhere.
Oh, okay. Also, Herberto's pointing out that they also have a print-to-play game, Magical Girl Assault. I need to check that out.
That sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, that's like I'm a big Madoka Magica fan, and so do.
That's what we need to do. Gen Con, do a Magical Girl Assault event.
All right, so special resin is an option, and David coming in chat with a killer suggestion I didn't see on my list, and it might have been on yours, which is second resin vat. Yes, a second set, one of those sets of resin vats for the printer is a perfect little gift, because then you can have multiple resins going at the same time without having to clean all your stuff every single time you want to swap resin. Because sometimes I want to print mint green goblins, and sometimes I want to print translucent fireballs, and I don't want to have to do the whole clean up, pour it back in the bottle dance every single time I want to get fireballs.
Amen. I do have multiples now.
Yes,
but one of them was because I had an FEP leak and I was really lazy. But I do.
I have done that. I have with my Mars. I absolutely did buy a 2-pack of vats because they said they had the FEPs pre-installed, because I did not want to change them, and it was only like $15 a vat. And back then, FEPs were $10 a piece, so I was like, $5 more, and I don't have to do it myself. Sold. Now FEPs are expensive, and VATs are even more expensive because Saturn. Though I should probably pick up some spare VATs for my Saturn. I don't have one.
I recommend.
Dad's RC Workbench is suggesting the fancy NFEP. I have some that I intend to put on my printer and test, and I was going to wait till my little FEP gave out this next time to do that, and for some reason, that has convinced this FEP to go
live forever.
Beast mode and live forever. I have gotten 400 miniatures off of that new FEP, off of that old FEP, since I bought the replacement for it. It never wants to give up.
I, of course, just before I heard about the FEP stuff, I had bought a 5-pack. So I still have 3 more to go through before I switch to anything fancier.
Hiroto coming in with a recommendation that's going to actually cause a little bit of a controversy here. Digital file gifts would be great if you could.
Yeah, right. I'm just going to say we complained about this last year.
Mm-hmm. I have complained to it directly to my Minifactory CEO in a video chat. Please. I need to be able to buy gift cards
so I can gift
yes. I have lots of people in my life now that are 3D printing. I would love to be able to buy them a gift card so that they could get the files, or gift them a year of a tribe. That would be a wonderful gift.
That would be cool too. Yeah. I understand that there's going to be some complexities about tribes or files specifically, because they might already have them. So what do you do? It's tragic, and I still haven't even realized or done much about this, but I had Mammoth Factory's like early tier, and then it didn't show up anymore, and so I didn't realize I was subbed to them, and it let me sub to them again. So I actually had 3 months of 2 tribes to 1 person and didn't realize it. And then, of course, because I was panicking when I realized what had happened, I deleted one. But which one did I delete? The legacy one I can't redo.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. Good times.
So, what's another great gift for a 3D printing gamer in your life? I'm going to say a metric Allen key set. Specifically, the ones that are the little screwdrivers, because they're much more efficient. And specifically, I'm going to recommend one that has the sizes 2, 2.5, 3, and 5 millimeters. I have a specific one to link to that covers this on available on Amazon for $20. So like right in that like sweet spot for gift, friend gift, or acquaintance gift. And because it's so much easier when you're using those screw ones to change your FEP. Because I hate when I have to use the little like Allen wrenches that it came with, because it takes me all day to
Mhm.
unscrew the 47 screws it takes to change an FEP in the Saturn. And I just want the little
You may
cool twisty
recall,
ones.
I had you on moral support the first time I did that. You were on, like, we
Hmm.
were in a chat, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start this. And I
Hmm.
finally messaged you, like, what was an hour and a half later? I did it. It
Hmm.
works.
Yep.
But that was nerve wracking because I
It is.
actually was too tight at
Yeah.
first.
If I'm not doing great mentally, like I will let the printer sit for days dreading an FEP change.
Yeah, yeah. On my list, way back down, I know Dad's
Mhm.
RC Workbench mentioned a UV curing light. I
Yes. Yep.
definitely think that that's a good thing, especially if you're going to
Mhm.
start getting into multi-piece resin welding, or if you want to call it
Mhm.
that, or fusing. Like I've been contemplating some of the big loot pieces. Loot Studio just did this massive undead walker with a battle platform on its back, and it's like a giant that's been like hobbled and it's like crawling, and it's so cool and it's just massive. But I want to build it, but it's gonna be a beast. I want to say it's segmented in 12 pieces ish. It's a lot. But I've seen enough stuff, especially specifically with loots for some reason, about people using resin welding instead of glue to do it. And I think it's the way to go, probably, especially since it covers up some of your gaps, you know, which gap fill is another thing you could get also. Speaking of which,
Yeah. The tiny little UV curing wands or the UV curing pins are great, so that you can like poke it into the little hole to cure the inside of a hollowed out print. That's also if you're gonna
my
get one of
walls,
those.
my
Mhm.
walls would definitely
Mhm.
approve. They're tiny, tiny little drilled holes.
You need to put bigger holes in your prints when you hollow them.
Well, you can't tell. There's actually more than just the three you can see. I'd had others, and they actually filled and cured when I was draining.
Mm,
Like, yeah.
yep. Also, like extra UV curing lights, just like the normal big block ones, come in handy. Like modern ones you can get on Amazon, they come with like little feet that bolt to them so that you can set them like they know who the market is for
Mm-hmm.
these products now. And so they're starting to make them like specialized. So I saw one that had like little feet so that you could just it stood itself up. I didn't have to build a little plastic enclosure for it like I had to for my first curing chamber. Yeah, and you can just get the curing bucket that way. You just get a big
Mm-hmm.
old metal bucket, put the light on top of it, give the bucket a shake every now and then, and you got printed parts.
Nice.
Yep. Um, Another one. This is a safety related one.
Okay.
A nice respirator, like a good quality respirator that fits nice and won't be super uncomfortable to wear. Not just for like when you're working around the printer, because there's some people do and don't do that when they're near the printer, especially if they got filtering already. But like if you're doing anything with 3D printed models, you're going to want to sand them. You're going to want to like
Paint them, drill
cut
them.
them, drill them, stuff like that. And that puts resin dust in the air. And resin dust is very, very bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is true no matter if it's a 3D printed resin or a resin model you have. In fact, as hobbyist, there's lots of things that are very bad for you to breathe in, and for various reasons. So a nice, like a 3M respirator, or just usually you can get one of these for about 20-30 bucks that just doesn't feel terrible to wear and doesn't pinch you is good. And that's our C bench is also recommending UV protection glasses or goggles, which is also useful. I
For
tend to not
spattering
use
resin.
them because well, yes, you want normal goggles for or glasses for splatter resin things, but I was talking about you also don't want to look at UV lights directly. So if you have the situation where you have the cure lights and not a cure chamber, um, don't look at the UV light because you can literally sunburn your eyeballs, and that hurts, and that will hurt for a while. Yeah. Stepping things up bigger, the wash and cure station that matches the printer of the person you're buying for. Great gift. Super wonderful gift. Makes life so much better as a 3D printer. I I I have done the two part wash. I've done the homemade cure station. Just having a wash and cure where you can just put the plate directly into the water and then your stuff comes clean and no messy resin, no half an hour worth of cleanup after a print. You good. And I'm exaggerating. It only takes like a few minutes to clean up. But you don't have to do it because you didn't make a mess because your everything got handled for you and it's awesome.
I still want a good solution for the alcohol post when it gets slurry gray.
I still do not have a good solution for that. Right now, my solution is to take an old milk jug, put the slurry gray alcohol in it, set it outside, let it become slurry, like let the stuff cure into the bottom, wait till a sunny day comes around, open the top of it, alcohol evaporates. All I'm left with is sludge. Milk jug full of sludge goes in garbage.
Yeah, yeah. Once it's fully cured, that's probably the safest thing to do with it.
This is true. David's saying if you get the bigger wash and cure station, so like the Mercury Pluses, the ones that's designed for the Saturns, happens to also be designed to handle two Mars 3 plates at the same time.
Fancy.
Herberto is saying a small flood UV light is very helpful just to sanitize a space. This is true. I guess I should use that. I'd never thought about doing
that's
it that
actually
way.
really a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Because I have my old cure light still kicking around and I just don't use it.
Yeah. And speaking of workspaces, one of the ones that I have had recommended by multiple people is just silicon baking mats.
Yes, that's on my
Just-
list too. Silicon mats because it nothing sticks to it. You easily able to wash it off.
Yep. And, you just cure it and just flex it and everything pops off. You just wash it off when you're done. And, dude, that's a very good solution. They're definitely, I think I have links to the just basic Amazon ones in our list. So,
Dad's RC Bench is recommending the metal funnel with removable filter. Also a handy thing to have. I still use the paint filter things that your printers come with because you can get 200 of them for $2. I should probably switch to the metal one, but I'm not gonna get through that 200 anytime soon.
So one of the things I do like about my cheap Rich Opto resin is when you buy them, you get a random tool in every bottle. So like there is some nice silicon nipple like snap funnels that go on the top of your thing, so you can kind of pour stuff in and then filter it back out through the bottles, so you can just go back and forth easily. There's some spatulas that come with them, so it's like a Happy Meal. You get like a random little prize to every bottle, and I got some metal filters from there that were pretty good too, and a scraper was pretty good. But I was also going to say, if you want a stocking stuffer for your 3D print nerd, silicon stir sticks also.
And as Herberto is saying, silicone stir sticks, also silicone funnels. And I do recommend that.
I think I said rubber. The nipple things, the nipple funnels are silicon that come with it.
Yeah. So silicone funnels are great because they wash super easy, just like the reason we recommend silicone and everything else. And if you get the silicone funnel, this is the answer to the Dad's RC workbench comment, then you can put the paper filter in the silicone funnel and you get this nice big wide mouth to just pour your vat into. But you do have to keep it upright on the Elegoo bottles with one hand. With the Soraitec bottles, not so much. The funnel will actually stand pretty sturdy there. Have I accidentally spilled resin all over my mat because the funnel tipped without me holding it? Yes, I have. So that's a lesson I only had to learn once. Oh, what else we got next? Anything cool for printers?
We've got so many more things still.
Oh boy.
We're saying printers still specifically.
For if you have for people with printers, what's good gifts for people with printers?
Okay. I did find a link for just a really broad resin toolkit that I thought was really cool. You can even just pull it up pretty easily on Amazon, but it has, some of the same stuff we've been talking about, the stir sticks, whatever. It has a little scale. It has tweezers. It has sandpaper, scraper, wedge thing. It's not pictured in the preview image, but I think there's even a small saw with it. Like, it's just so much stuff. Really reasonable price point. Again, it will be in the show notes, but
awesome.
Just really, really cool. And it's got a couple stir cups and stuff that we'd probably use more for like a dice making or something, but it's still just overall a really great value for a printer, I think.
Yeah, I think this kit was more designed for the people that do the 2-part pouring of resin, but that means that it is also super useful for us that don't have to worry about pouring exact halves of resin. Though those little cups, I do use one of those little cups to measure out my resin to make sure I get my tenacious mix right.
Right.
Also, plastic little syringes to get resin out your vat. That's another thing.
That has pipettes in it, I'm pretty sure, too, as well. So
that would be a lot of pipettes. Those pipettes hold like 7 milliliters.
Well, again, I'm talking more for like resin welding stuff here. I don't know why I'm obsessed with that right now. I just am.
I'm just sitting there imagining one of those little pipettes trying to empty my Saturn vat. Squirt, squirt,
no,
squirt.
No. Saturn vats have a pour for a reason. They have a little.
Man, try what Jupiter. I'm glad I don't have a Jupiter. Emptying the Jupiter must be nuts.
It would be one of those things where I would have been trying to print down to the very last drop of that vat before I even tried to clean it out.
So let's switch gears here. You don't have a printer yet. What does your gift list look like for I want a printer?
Oh, at this point, I would go to a Saturn, but I would say, I guess we still have the other option of the Mars 3.
So the Mars 3 is a good intro option. A Saturn 1 or a Saturn 8K would be in my recommendation there. I don't know that I'd recommend starting on the Saturn 2 while the Saturn 8K exists in the world.
Yeah.
I think the 8K just has all the features you'd care about. You can get Anycubic Photon Mono 4K for $189 right now, and that is maybe the steal right now. Now, problem there is, hey, Anycubic support isn't as good as Elegoo support, but people
in
like
my experience, I will agree with that statement.
Yeah. But $189 to get started with a really great quality printer would be is kind of insane right now. So
here's my terrible thing to say about buying your Anycubic. Buy it through Amazon or another third party that will let you do returns if there's an issue.
This is true. But yeah, I think you can get it from Amazon for that price right now.
James says we should give people links to our podcast for Christmas.
Well, we're free.
But the link, it's the labor of finding that link. I don't know.
Okay. So on Amazon, it's $194, so $5 more. But yeah, I'd totally get it through Amazon.
But for ease of returns, etc., that RC Work uses VoxLab Proxima 2K. Oh,
yeah. If you have the extra $100 to spend, I personally would get the Mars 3 Pro. Because then you get the built-in filters, which is lovely to have the built-in filters.
Especially if it's new to your house, because people aren't used to the smell. So filters would be good to not have smell.
Yeah. And as for Dad's RC's VoxLab that you just mentioned, I have no experience with those printers whatsoever, so I can't recommend one way or the other. But hey, that's another brand to look into. If you're also getting started with 3D printing, remember you're going to need the gloves, you're going to need a UV light, and you're going to need to make a cure chamber. So The shopping list is a little bit longer. There's usually probably an extra $100 in miscellaneous stuff you're going to have to buy to get started. But again, these are mostly going to be one-time expenses, except for the resin, which you will be buying forever and giggling happily every time you get a new bottle.
It's true.
I really wish you could gift subs and files, because like that'd also be like the perfect gift for something. So listen, industry. I know many people that work in the industry. Convince my mini factory and tribes and all them to let us buy gift cards. Darn it!
You can't gift subs for Patreon either, can you?
I don't think so. Like there's this very little ways, because then you get like you could buy the files and then give them, but then you run into like actually the licensing and the legalities of this get real complicated.
Yeah, I do not like
Yeah.
that. I do not buy me files.
Yeah.
That's weird because then it's
hmm
yours and it not really ever. I don't like that.
And yes, if you have a washing cure, Lord Novus, you do not need to make the cure box. But we're assuming getting started, like a washing cure is an extra expense on that. Like the best thing in the world, and I know we did this when we bought, when No Direction got together to buy Owen Casey Stevens printer. We bought the printer and the washing cure, and like it's just a giant package of everything you'll ever need. Here you go. So like if you can, like if sky's the limit and you've got $500 in your pocket, get the printer, get the washing cure, get the gloves, get the resin. You'll be able to print entire legions of armies or tables filled with terrain in no time. Your D&D games will always have the exact right monster you need from then on. Yeah. All right, so that's our recommendation for getting started. But we have printers and we print things for games, most often minis and or terrain. So painting and hobbying is part of this, because full color printers aren't quite there yet. They're still tens of thousands of dollars, and they still kind of suck right now, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
I'm betting by the time they're good, they won't fit in my assisted living room because that's
I
about
think
the age I expect to be.
I don't know. I think in 5 years or so, we will have like good quality, affordable full color printers. Like they probably won't be as good as you can paint, but they'll probably be as good as some people can paint, and that's
Sure,
all that matters. If they, I bet they'll be as good as a WizKids Common, the ones they don't have the extra paint steps on that makes them look decent.
fair enough.
So I think right now for the miniature, this is also work for gift ideas for the gamers in your life, whether or not they have printers. I
Yep.
think the top gift to get if they don't have one is a vortex mixer, because it is a night and day difference of quality of life as a miniature painter to have a vortex mixer.
So
Because
for listeners who don't know what that is, what is that?
a vortex mixer is a small little electronic puck that goes on your paint desk, and it has like a rubber top, and you press a bottle of paint or whatever onto the top of it, and it vibrates and spins incredibly quickly, like stupid, stupid, stupid fast. They are usually used in laboratories to mix stuff together for science reasons, and you'll often see them on like episodes of CSI and stuff. But tattoo artists and miniature painters and also like beauty YouTubers love them, because you can take your paint and put it to the bottom of that, and in a few seconds your paint will be mixed up properly. Because one of the most frustrating things, especially getting started with painting, is learning you have to shake the paint up and get it mixed up properly to just get a decent, like, to get the paint to behave right and flow right. Because like as a new painter, it can be frustrating if like ketchup water comes out the tip of your paint,
Mm-hmm.
instead of
Ketchup
like
water.
nice wonderful paint that you can use.
That is a
And so
beautiful and terrible thing to call it because it's totally like that or that mustard
yeah.
drip.
Yeah. And so you can get a decent little vortex mixer these days for like $50, $40, up to about 100. And used to, these things were like $200 at
Yeah.
minimum to get into it. And so like only like serious painters were getting into them. But now you can pick them up for like $40. And it's like that's like the perfect little gift for a painter that doesn't have one, because I'm telling you now, it is such a quality of lifesaver. Like, I don't have to sit there and shake my paint for 2 solid minutes trying to get freaking Corvax white to be smooth. You'll never get Corvax white smooth. You will never get it smooth.
I was about to say, my Tesseract Glow, I think I put on, there's a little, I'm still using a nail polish shaker. And yeah, that's even 15 minutes on there barely gets it kind of back together after it's separated.
Putting the mixing beads in the paint, even if you have a mixer, helps a lot because it just speeds up the process.
Yeah.
There is another option for that hobbyists use that is like a little stir wand that is really just the handle for one of those personal fans you can get at the fairs, but instead it has like a little stir stick at the end of it. Those don't work well for us. Those do not work well for us because they will not fit into standard size dropper bottles. The ends of them don't. I bought one of those. They work great for a lot of model hobbyists that use like testers or Tamiya paints that have those nice big wide lids, or even GW with nice big wide lids. But if you're using like Army Painter or Vallejo or any of the other paint brands we recommend here, it won't fit, and therefore it's useless. So do not get that one. Get the nail polish shakers. I've had those. They do work, but it takes a lot longer. The
It does take a lot longer.
In a worst case scenario, is like 30 seconds. And that's like, it's a Army Painter one that's been sitting in the back of the game store for 4 years. And you can just see the layer cake of freaking Tutti Frutti that this thing is made out of from the side of the bottle. And then you can put this on this Vortex mixer, and 30 seconds later, you got perfect paint again.
I will say the nail polish shaker is cheap, and it's a lot better than nothing.
Oh yeah, if you got nothing.
Yeah, I think I want to say like mine was like $15 or something. I don't remember, but yeah, still night and day better than what we had.
So you got a general hobby gift suggestion, Kristen?
Well, so I put down Helping Hands. If you just search Helping Hands, they're usually meant for circuit boards, but they're multiple clip, like kind of alligator clips. That usually has, some of them will have like magnifiers or lights built into them. You can spend anywhere from like $11 on this thing to like $100. The one I have, I think, just has like multiple arms, because I find like the forearm brace, whatever, you're going to use that when you're having trouble peeling off supports. You can put a piece in there and get in there and use your tweezers or whatever. You can use it during painting a lot. There's a lot of times I would want that extra support. And the thing that I mostly find it interesting for right now and want it for is I'm doing more live streaming. So like to hold it up in front of a camera at an angle that with my hand, like I can't tell you how obnoxious it is to hold a mini up, trying to keep it in focus while you're like whatever, especially because I do TikTok and it's on a phone, right? That camera is not like super adjustable and posable and whatever. I have a good arm for it now, finally. But yeah, getting something up there so that you can work on it and have it in view of a camera, I would totally suggest something like that.
Oh boy, we are running out of time fast, and I'm wondering.
We are.
Any of the hobby ones you need to shout out to before we move on to the last sections?
I'm trying to think of something else. I have a link to the Neat5 4-level brightness lamp. It had really high ratings for a whole bunch of painting hobbyists. It's just a good lamp to paint under. Yeah. And I have a fix for my stackable boxes that I talked about a couple times ago. Thinking outside the box, of the box for we think a lot of gaming hobbies. There's overlap with Gundam. Just look at Gundam tools if you're looking for other like good things to use. But
hands.
There's so many great things in the Gundam community that we can use for our hobby. So,
do you know about God Hands, Kristen?
I wrote a third-party class called God Hand, but I don't think you're talking about that.
No. So there are snippers, the little hobby snippers that we use to clip the models from sprue and stuff. Well, the Gundam hobbyists, they're hardcore about their snippers. So most snippers actually kind of crush the plastic, which is how they do the cut. and
Yeah.
that leaves a little stress. It discolors the plastic and turns it a little bit white.
Yep.
So high quality snippers, like really high quality snippers, can get away with doing that and actually cut through the plastic without discoloring it. And the best ones are called God hands, which are amazingly sharp. They will like, and they use them on the Gundam kits. You get like right up to the edge of the Gundam and do that perfect little slice, and there won't even be evidence that there was a sprue ever attached to that
Nice.
model. It is perfect. They're like $120,
Oh wow.
and
Yeah.
they're incredibly fragile.
That's not good. We
So
have recommendations of lower price alternatives. Is that Alexi AliExpress? AliExpress has generics. Okay. Roberto says, and Dad's RC Workbench says micro mark snippers.
high grit sandpaper. We're trying to avoid the sandpaper, but I get it. Yeah. David Wickham says they are best. I like mine a lot. You got theirs for $40. I've never seen them that cheap before. Cool. I also am do the little Gundam building myself, and I like building my little Gundams, and so that's when I've been drooling over God Hands. I was like, ooh, I want. But also, ironically, you don't most those are most Warhammer fans and miniature hobbyists don't care about them because we're going to prime the model and repaint it, and you can't see the stress discolorations that at that
It's
point.
true.
Yeah, it only matters if the original plastic is going to be showing.
All right. Last section you said.
Last section, stuff as a 3D printer we can print as presents. My first recommendation is Dice Towers. I don't like Dice Towers, but people love Dice Towers.
I totally agree with you though. I don't get it, but like at the same time, people just they love them. They love them.
You get some fancy like that freaking purple sparkly filament and print a unicorn dice tower, and they're gonna love it. Or really cool dice boxes and dice trays. Like they got little like Thingiverse filled with them. You can get little dice daggers that you pull the dagger out, and it's got little slots for all your dice in it. It looks like the Master Sword or a hammer, or and like yeah, there's all sorts of little dice accessories you can print. It's great, and no matter what the gamer is, they'll appreciate that. If you've got a geom in your life, you can print them a dungeon tile set. That is something that they will appreciate. Or if you remember our earlier episode, I said more important than the dungeon tile set is the furniture. If you just print like a crap ton of furniture and beds and just like crates and boxes, especially if you're willing to like put a dash of contrast paint brown on top of most of it, like it takes 0 time to paint this stuff. If you're willing to do that, your DM is going to love you. He'll love you so much to have all that.
It's true. It's true. Got a lot of comments flowing through here. Words and Paradise Towers, yeah. Gundam, those are Tau, right? Yeah, right, Alex. That's funny.
No, I've been thinking like I'm Grimdark Futures miniature agnostic. It has rules for the Titan Lords, which is the big giant stompy robots. I could totally run Barbados as my Titan, right?
Nice. Reminds me of there was a toy war game back in the day. I was like, you could just use OPR rules for that, right? Like just
Of course, why
put a
not?
bunch of toys out.
Of course, actually, we're gonna have to cut this short. Hero Forge gift certificates.
I was gonna throw that one
a
out.
whole lot longer if you can print the files for them instead of just a one-off mini. And suddenly it's 6 of their best NPCs instead of just one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also, if you do have a friend that is into wargaming, and just ask them what army they want. A bottle of resin that has like the name of their army scribbled across the front of it. That's a good gift option too.
I was just going to circle back that to earlier. When you get given resin, the chances of you like them not being enriched by it back, even if it's just like, with monsters to fight or whatever, like they're going to see that value again. So it's kind of a twofer on the gift front.
And for your normie friends in your life, the little wiggle dragons on cults, always
People
a great
do love
choice.
those wiggle dragons.
Love wiggle dragons. Everybody loves dragons. Kids love wiggle dragons. Print a wiggle dragon. All right.
All right.
We are running out of time, everyone. We very much appreciate y'all coming on the show. If you want to find more, you can do so at printyourgames.com, where you'll find all the old episodes and links to all our socials and the YouTubes and the various episodes. You'll be able to subscribe to the podcast there. And if you want to help out the podcast, then the best things you can do is give us a rating on iTunes or Spotify. That helps boost the visibility of the show a ton, as well as for, sharing the episodes with your friends. You can just like give this episode to your friends in your life and like, look, gift ideas for me. Please listen to what they say and buy them for me.
I did actually check all the stuff I put, and everything was still deliverable before the holidays. So
yeah, and we're going to have this list with all the Amazon links. I don't think they're affiliate links into the on the episode website. It's too big to fit into the YouTube. So if you go to the printyourgames.com, I'll have all this stuff here, just links to all the stuff we recommended in this episode. And Herberto, send me a link to your stuff. You can send it to me. You know, actually, I don't know how you can send it to me. Find me on Facebook, and I will happily take that link, or hit me up on Discord. I think you can find me on Discord. You can email me at jefferson.thacker@gmail.com. That's an email address that has been killed to death in the public eye. And until next time, I'm Jefferson J. Thacker, also known as Param.
I'm Kristen Sowers, also known as Seventh Mastery. Don't forget to use the screen protector.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.